Mario Brothers, and plumbing's the game. Found the secret water zone while working on the drain. Lend the princess a hand in the mushroom land. Join the action with the plumbers, you'll be hooked on the brothers. Now, evil Koopa and his troopers are up to misbehaving. They kidnapped the princess, mushroom land needs saving. Abusing and confusing, everybody discovers they can't help but be hooked on the brothers.
Hello and welcome to the latest episode of Pixels in the Animation. I am one of your hosts, Steve John Mike, and joining me in this latest episode is TV's Mr. Neil.
Mario, where are you?
For a second there, I thought you were going to say, Mario, where are you?
No.
That should have been in the Bad Rap episode. Oh my god.
No, there's a particular reason I saved it for this one. But we'll
get to it. So yeah, we are 11 episodes in. We have 4 episodes left of Super Show. We're almost home free, dude.
Yeah,
it can only get better from here, right? I mean, I know you don't like Mario 3, but for me, and I'll say this when we get to that eventually down the line, because we'll be doing Zelda and Captain N first, but for me, Mario 3 was a breath of fresh air, honestly. The game was so damn good, and the cartoon, like, you know, we've talked about Super Show emulating Super Mario Brothers and Super Mario Brothers 2. And how they've mixed and matched and done this and done that and used this and used that. Well, Mario 3, at least for me, it was an interesting premise of how to work the kids into an actual story instead of just saying, you go to World 1, you face this kid. You go to World 2, you face this, you know what I mean? So I thought it was a cool way to introduce the kids, and I'm sure we'll talk about all this down the line, but oh man, I cannot wait until we hit Raccoon Mario.
Yeah, the Mario 3 cartoon is a better cartoon than this, but that bar was set low. So.
Of course, today we're going to continue the SMB Super Show reviews as we talk about the next, I think it's 3 episodes we'll be doing today. So yeah, let's go ahead and get to the episodes right after this.
Plumber's log number 2216. We were in the oriental city of Sayonara, looking for the martial arts master, Misaki, whose skills could help us save the princess's kingdom. But we found trouble first.
Ruffling rigatoni! What are those?
Black belt ninjas! Run for it!
First up today is Karate Koopa. Yeah.
Oh boy.
The live action segment was called A D Don't. I watched it. It was not memorable.
Yeah.
It wasn't even...
What was it? It was Mario and Luigi getting ready for a commercial that they're doing for their...
Oh, that's right. Yeah.
Yeah, and that's what made me think of the Atari Mario Brothers song, because it's like, if they were going to do a jingle, they should have done that instead of what they did in the actual show.
That's the one a couple weeks ago when I was talking about there was some lady that came in and it was like a game show. Mm-hmm. It was her, because she's like doing the Vanna poses of, ta-da, look at this prize. Ta-da, look at this paint. You know, that whole female game show hostess thing.
Yeah, I was trying to figure out why she was... Every gesture she made, it was making, like game show noises.
Maybe it was the whole thing of... the fact that she was a television star. Oh, I know what it was. Because they were trying to make a commercial. Yeah. And she was playing to the camera. That's what it was.
And Mario developed stage fright, and In the immortal words of Lin Min-Mei, stage fright, go away. Wait, no, let's just get to the cartoon. I don't even want to talk about this live action segment anymore.
When Koopa kidnaps Princess Toadstool and Toad, Mario and Luigi turn to a karate master for help. The featured song was Carl Douglas's Kung Fu Fighting.
Oh boy.
I remember watching this as a kid. I remember hearing that, even though obviously you can't hear it now because it's not on the DVDs, but I'm sure it's on the YouTube version or whatever else. But I remember watching this as a kid, and I remember hearing that song. And the next time I heard that song after this was in Power Rangers, the movie in 1995. Oh, yay. Oh, shut up. We know you don't like Power Rangers. This thing. I don't even know. I honestly, the character, was it Miyazaki or I don't know. Who is he supposed to be?
I don't know. He was sort of like a Mr. Miyagi type character, but I don't know.
Every time they said his name, all I kept hearing was Miyamoto.
Did you notice he was terrible? I mean, he was like, snatch this washer from my hand, and Luigi did it very nonchalantly, and he was like, good, you've mastered that, and I'm like, wait, this guy's like a joke.
Yeah, pretty much. This is not one of those cartoon episodes that, oh my god, it's hard. It didn't piss me off like Bad Rap did. It didn't insult me like Bad Rap did. It didn't make my brain almost bleed like Bad Rap did. But at the same time, it's not a good episode. It just isn't. There's so many stereotypes.
Yeah, I'm not one to complain about racism. You'll almost never hear me say something like that. But this was really pushing it for me because of how the guy was very stereotypically Japanese. I mean, he pretty much should have just called Mario his number one round eye, because that's about what he was. That's about how he was being portrayed. He sounded like Storm Shadow, only worse.
Yeah. The only cool things, because we're just going to eventually move right into Goombas, but the only cool things that I liked were the underwater scenes. I thought those were... for me, it was almost like playing the underwater levels in Mario 1 again. I thought that was pretty cool and pretty good animation. And Koopa's outfit, it's scary as hell, but it's interesting.
Yeah. I don't know why he was being called Karate Koopa. It seems like he should have been named Kabuki Kumba, or Kabuki Koopa, I should say.
Yeah. Yes. I don't know. Any other thoughts on the overall plot of? I mean, it's your standard Mario episode.
Yeah,
except with karate. I mean, it's the standard episode of save the princess. She's being trapped in this castle with her fungus.
And as with the standard Mario episode, it comes with my standard exasperated sigh. I don't know what to say about this.
The only thing it's missing is, hey, look, it's Godzilla.
Oh God! Speaking of which, there was a Godzilla episode of Mario. Wasn't Sayonara the name of the town in that episode too?
I think so. Yes.
Yeah, I was like, wait a minute.
Wait a minute, they're going back? Yeah.
But it was like a totally different place.
Yeah, it looked totally different because of the way the Koopzilla, that's what it was. But yeah, no. Oh, God. I can tell between episode 11 now and by the time we get to episode 14, which will be the last of the reviews, there may be one or two bright spots, but overall. Oh my God. Let's just jump into Goombas.
Let her ready, Koopa?
If it isn't Mario, the puny plumber.
Alright, so, Mario Karate Brothers. Really? When's Shredder and the Turtles gonna show up?
That made me think of Mario as what was that? What was that game that Milton Bradley made? It was not Karate Fighter. I don't remember. God, I was gonna make a joke here and I can't remember the name of the game.
You are now a Plum Fu master. What the fuck is Plum Fu?
It's Kung Fu for plumbers. This show and plumber jokes and mushroom jokes and all these bad puns, they're not even funny.
No, not. And half the time I honestly thought that they were saying plum flu. Like as in you ate a plum and it gave you the flu. That's honestly what I thought they were saying half the time. Maybe it's the language barrier. I don't know. What didn't you like about this one?
Oh my god. Everything. The Ninja Master. He was just... He wasn't even a character. It was just like every Japanese cartoon character ever portrayed in the 1980s. It was... I compared it to the character from G.I. Joe. What he actually reminds me of is the Transformers episode, The Burden Hardest to Bear. There was a Japanese character in that episode that is pretty much this guy. He's like, "How are you, Autobot-san?" And I'm like, "Oh, my." And to top that off, they sent it to Japan to animate. And I'm like, "Oh, man."
That has to be insult upon injury.
Yeah.
Oh wow, that's nuts. Yeah, let's just move on.
Yeah.
We were taking a shortcut through Jungle Land. You know, Luigi, this Jungle Land joint isn't so bad.
Mario, are you crazy? Where there's a jungle, there's ferocious jungle beasts.
Yeah, I bet this place is crawling with lions and tigers.
And Koopas. Oh, my.
It's King Koopa!
That's right, Mushrunt. I decided to go hunting, and it's open season on plumbers.
Up next is Tarzan. Oh, I'm sorry, Mario of the Apes. The live action segment was Chippy Chipmunks. So when are Chip and Dale gonna show up?
Oh, I wasn't even thinking that. I thought they were doing an Alvin and the Chipmunks.
They were, but Chippy, and honestly, if you look at his chipmunk ring, you know what it looks like to me. Oh God, now I know the crap. Uncle Joey, his woodchuck.
Yeah.
Oh Christ.
You know what's sad is that I can't think of what it's called, but I think I know what you're talking about.
It's oh crap, what is Uncle Joey from Full House's woodchuck called? Mr. Woodchuck, oh crap, I don't remember. Either way, that's what the chipmunk ring looked like to me. As far as the cartoon, Mario suffers from amnesia yet again. How many episodes do we have that Mario gets knocked in the head by something and he's convinced by an ape couple that he is their child? I think it's interesting that they had Captain Lou do this. I thought that was kind of cool seeing, hearing him voice a Tarzan-like imitation. Did you catch the names of the parents?
No.
June and Ward.
Oh, yeah.
As in the Cleavers.
Yes.
Oh my God. Oh, this episode. You have anything you want to say before we just jump straight to Goombas?
Wasn't there a Bugs Bunny plot that was almost like this? It wasn't an amnesia episode, but it was like he gets adopted by gorillas and
It was Gorilla My Dreams.
Yeah, and that's what it was reminding me of at first, but then it went into this whole amnesia thing, and John Kay said something like cartoon producers in the 80s believe that there were only like 7 stories ever, and the amnesia story definitely was one of them, and that's why you see it repeated in this cartoon.
Yeah. Well, what I find really interesting over so far the series of Super Mario Brothers is how many Looney Tunes references I've been able to put in this show. We might as well just call this the Looney Animation Hour or something and just review Looney Tunes shorts because, yeah.
I would rather watch like the worst Bob McKimson cartoons than this.
That's an argument for another day. Yeah. Let's go ahead and jump straight into Goombas.
My Shy Guys are gonna make shish Koopa Bob out of you.
Alright, for stomping on the Goombas. So many, like, we weren't even 5 seconds into this episode, and there's like 5 cliches right in a row. Mm-hmm. Just immediately right in a row. And really, a Marzan Tarzan ripoff. Really, Marzan is the best that the writers could come up with. This is definitely not an episode they needed to do. And if you're supposed to be pretending that you're an ape, if you have amnesia and think you're an ape, why are there so many goddamn pasta references? Last time I checked, apes, monkeys, orangutans, whatever the hell, don't eat pasta.
Yeah, but the answer to that is this was probably written in like 5 minutes.
That's the answer to all these cartoons.
Seriously, I know for a fact that a lot of these guys who wrote these cartoons, including Captain N and the Zelda cartoon and the Sonic cartoon, they literally just slap these out in like rapid order. It's just these are not high art. They aren't really plotted out the way a Bugs Bunny cartoon would be. So they're just kind of very cliche, not very well thought out. The jokes fall flat, and it's getting harder and harder to really examine these cartoons in depth because they all have the same problems.
Yes, they do. Sadly, they very much do.
And but what was with Mario's monkey girlfriend in like the middle of the episode? I'm kind of like blanking on that. It's like it was something, but I don't know what relevance it was to the whole plot.
The only thing I can think of is that, and I know this happened way after the Super Show did, and I think I've told this story before on other GCRN shows. There was a time, was it when did the Disney is it 99? Yeah, it must have been 99.
Yeah.
Yeah, because I was in Mississippi at that point. December of 1999, I was living in Biloxi, Mississippi. And some personal stuff was going on, and I just had to get away. So guess where I went? I went to the local mall, and I sat in Sears and watched Tarzan over and over and over again. Just like as a kid, when my mom didn't want to deal with me, she stuck me in front of Batman 89 in JCPenney. I watched Tarzan over and over and over and over again. The only thing I can think of is it's a reference to Turk, his little ape friend. But I don't know, because obviously Super Show happened before that movie happened. I don't know the rest of the Legend of Tarzan. I don't know if he had a little ape friend that was, I don't know.
I know he had a little ape friend, but this was like a female gorilla. I don't know.
Yeah.
I think I'm just blanking on it because I was just watching it and like thinking, what the hell is going on? And at one point, my brain just stopped trying to analyze the plot, and I just let the episode end, and I was like, okay.
Yep. Next one.
Yeah.
Pretty much.
The very last observation I made was that, of course, what restores Mario's memory? Food.
Yeah. I'll be okay. I know for a fact. Don't get us wrong, ladies and gentlemen. We've had 10 episodes of this podcast previously that are actually the review part of the shows. And don't get us wrong. We get it. Late 80s, early 90s, animation writing was not what it is. You know, you're not like if they did this show today and they had a strict continuity to follow, like if they actually followed the, like, can you imagine, Neil, if we had a Mario cartoon that actually followed the events of one of the games? That, you know, as far as story based wise, I get it. Back then it wasn't like that. It was episodic. It was, you know, it wasn't meant to be a continuous thing, but you're right. These people are just pulling hey, let's do a Tarzan episode. Hey, let's do a Godzilla episode. Hey, let's do, you know, Mr. Miyagi in Tokyo Town. You know, it just... And I know I've said this multiple times before on the show. I don't get what my 9-10-year-old brain was there. I kind of get it, but, like, I think back then when I was a kid, I was more thinking of, hey, this is a cartoon about the games. They're going to show us the game. You know, they're going to show animated versions of the game levels, and eventually that's what we evolved to with Mario 3 and Mario World, but I don't know.
I think it's more a problem is I observe this problem with other Deke shows. It's that Deke had a weird issue with the writing department and the storyboard department and how they don't really seem to gel very well. And I'll actually get into this with the next episode, but that's kind of my observation with them, is that their cartoons were never quite good, except for like Inspector Gadget and the Littles, where the quality was at its best and that wasn't really a problem. But after that, it just slowly went downhill.
Yeah, pretty much. It pretty much did. So let's move on to the final episode of the day.
Plumber's Log, number 1989. We've found Koopa's secret summer castle, complete with swimming pool, barbecue, patio, and a greenhouse. And one more thing. Us as prisoners.
Where's Louis Tully when you really need him?
I don't know.
Princess, I Shrunk the Mario Brothers.
Oh
I am the keymaster. I am the gatekeeper.
Oh my god, if they had done that. Although we still have like what, 9 episodes of the Super Show left. Maybe it's in there. There may be a Ghostbusters reference.
The live action segment was a basement divided. Basically what happens in the live action segment is Mario's a fat slob, Luigi's a skinny, clean freak, and Luigi can't stand living in Mario's mess, so they do the age-old trope of drawing a line in the sand or putting a large piece of black tape across the room, and they each sit on their own side.
Yeah, it's basically the divide the apartment in half storyline that was pretty much in every ABC TGI Friday sitcom ever, because that, and I'm sure it even predates that. I'm sure like sitcoms have been doing that since the 70s. I mean, they even made fun of that in an episode of Clerks, the animated series. But this is just like sitcom writing 101 this episode.
Yeah. I mean, hell, Three's Company was the entire series pretty much with the roommates. So, I mean, for the cartoon, Princess I Shrunk the Mario Brothers, a wizard's potion intended to shrink Koopa is spilled by Toad, dumbass, and ends up shrinking the Super Mario Brothers. Episode is based on, obviously, Honey, I Shrunk the Kids. I honestly didn't find this one to be that, like, it didn't offend me that much, but at the same time, it's not like, this for me, it falls somewhere in the middle of like where I ranked on Her Majesty's Sewer Service so high versus ranking Bad Rap the lowest of the low.
Uh-huh.
This is somewhere in the middle of that. It's not so bad. There are times where it's really bad, but the plot was interesting. Of course, you know, Toad just comes in and doesn't even ask the wizard to see the damn potion. He just snatches it right out of his hand. Fucking thief. Oh my god. Fucking fungus. Ugh. Yeah.
And
Toad is.
Am I wrong? But was Danny Wells the voice of the wizard? Because it sure sounded like it.
Yes, he was.
Oh. Okay. You may have been doing other voices in this cartoon. I just wasn't noticing it.
Yeah. Well, you know, if you listen to a lot of the Mushroom people,
yeah,
it's what's his name that does Koopa?
Yeah, I know. Oh, yeah, he's all over this cartoon. I noticed that a lot.
Yeah. But yeah, Danny Wells was the voice of the wizard, so that was very interesting. Thoughts on the plot, sir?
The plot. There was a plot. It was pretty straightforward, I guess. It was Mario Brothers gets shrunk. Koopa does bad things until the other good guys can make a new potion and bring them. I don't know. I'm struggling to see what the plot was. I know there's a basic idea here, but it was.
The basic idea is they're ripping off Honey, I Shrunk the Kids. I mean, that's pretty much the basic idea. And did you ever go to Disney World around 1995 or so?
No.
I did with my mom, and they had this ride. And again, this is another one of my many stories that I've probably told many times on other shows, but they had this ride based on Honey, I Shrunk the Kids, but instead of Honey, I Shrunk the Kids, it's Honey, I Shrunk the Audience. And it's one of those interactive things where in the movie, like a rat runs across the floor, so they make the carpet move, and you know, they don't actually they make us feel shrunken somehow. I forget how they did it. It's so long, but it's one of those things where it was really interesting, and the funniest part about it was the ending. And it was gross at the time, but at the end, the dog from the movie comes on screen, and he sneezes, and they basically spray you with water. It's like, yeah, this, you know, that was almost better than this.
Now, don't think that I didn't just notice that you started to say they didn't actually shrink the audience.
You know what? But it's one of those things. I don't know how to explain it.
I know.
It's one of those things where they did something, but I don't think in 1995 we had the technology to build a shrink ray.
We don't have that technology now. But anyway.
Anyways.
Weird thing about this episode, at the very beginning, they're getting captured and there are two Mousers.
Oh, yeah, that's right.
I was like, oh, well, I guess that's sort of in line with the game because there were two Mouser bosses. But in this cartoon, there was always one. And suddenly there's two. I'm like, okay.
Yeah. All right. I don't know about you, but I only had one Fire Flower moment written down, so I'll say that, and then we can move straight into Goombas. But
I don't have anything.
Oh, okay. Well, there you go. Right after the princess says, rock and roll, I swear I heard the Axel F theme. like 2 seconds of it, but just like the dun, dun, dun. Like, I swear to God, I heard the Axel F theme. I don't know. Let's go ahead and stomp on some Goombas after this.
In here! Talk about handy. They must make these drain pipes in all sizes.
Speaking of handy, look!
Whoa! This is just too handy.
Wait till I get my hands on you two.
Alright, Goombas. Bad animation error yet again. Luigi's voice comes out of Mario's mouth.
Yeah.
Okay. This is going to become a running gag, and I'm so glad when we move away from this. And I know we'll come back to it at some point with Mario 3 and Mario World, but this entire cartoon is about Mario getting fatter and fatter and fatter for eating all this high cholesterol junk food. Okay, I know pasta's not technically junk, but I mean, it's like he's eating all this stuff that's high in carbs that's going to make him fatter and fatter and fatter. They actively say, the troopers say, vegetables, yuck. That's going overboard. Come on. Like, I get it. Kids back then, even now, kids nowadays don't like eating their vegetables. But this cartoon is shaping up to be, to me, as saying, hey, being obese is cool. Being fat is good. Eat all of this really tasty food that's going to make you look like Marvel's Blob. You know, it's just really pissing me off. It really, all the food stuff in this show is just really, like, I'm getting to a certain breaking point of, holy crap.
Well, I had something.
No, go ahead.
Okay, well, you just reminded me of something else, so actually now I have two. The first thing, speaking of weight, the way that the animation dealt with the differentiation between a character who was small and a character who was large is to draw the larger character as being really fat. For example, when the normal sized Koopa Troopers were chasing after the Shrunken Mario Brothers, whenever they showed it from the Mario Brothers perspective, they made the Koopa Troopers look really fat.
Yeah.
And I'm like, why is that your go-to? I don't understand that animator. And speaking of the animation department, here's where I get into my criticism of DiC and how they handle these story writing and storyboard departments. It's like there's a wall of separation. And there's one particular element in this cartoon that illustrates this very well. It's when the princess, Toad, and the wizard are tied up, and the wizard's like, I could use my spell if only I could use my hands, and his hands are clearly free. He's only tied around like the chest and his upper arms. He can use his hands, and this is what I'm talking about. Is that like somehow the story writing department and the storyboard department, the people who are actually doing the drawings, there's no communication between them, and it's like it creates these moments of disconnect where it's like, why is this such a problem for you guys? Why can't you communicate a little better so that you don't have problems like this in your cartoons? And that eventually solved itself when DiC became part of Cookie Jar, and we don't have cartoons like this anymore. But that was my major gripe with this episode. It's like the epitome of everything that was ever wrong with DiC is like in like a 5-second scene that just drove me nuts.
Oh no, it's just so bad. So we're gonna take a quick break. You're gonna hear some ads and some other audio stuff, and we'll come back to close the show with final ratings.
The Super Mario Brothers Super Show will return.
Like animation? Come listen to Animation Aficionados.
And if you disagree with us, you could be a guest on a future show.
Available on iTunes, the Zune Market, and animationaficionados.com.
Follow me, you repulsive reptile! Help!
It's Princess Toadstool. We've got to save her.
Hugo, leave the rest of ninjas to Luigi and me. No sweat.
Speak for yourself. I'm sweating like a Koopa.
Coming to Grand Rapids, Michigan on September 21st and 22nd is GrandCon Gaming and Comics Convention, presented by Celebration Cinemas. Join us in playing or chatting it up with fellow enthusiasts in a community that understands your passions. Get lost in the adventure of your favorite role-playing game. Admire costumes and art from vendors and attendees. Meet the creators behind your favorite mainstream and independent games and comic books. Check out unpublished games and sneak peek at things to come. You can get all this and more at GrandCon. For more information, please visit www.grand-con.com.
Where am I? Who am I? I can't remember anything. And who are you?
We're the luckiest apes in the world.
We're your mom and pop, little fella.
Oh, Ward, what shall we call him? Marzan. We'll call him Marzan.
Welcome to the family, Marzan.
Me, Marzan.
Before we close out the show, we'll be ranking each episode on a 0 to 5 stars/starman scale. Oh boy. Karate Koopa. What do you give that one?
I'll just give it a 0. These 3 episodes. This must have been like a week of like. This must have been like 1 week of the original run where it was just. They were just throwing crap at the wall. This was like the week where all the really bad episodes were like quarantined. So we're off to a roaring start with this one.
And, my whole rant at the end of Shrunk the Mario Brothers, I realized exactly again why this show is aiming at, in making children obese. At the end of Karate Koopa, can you give him 2 belts? Are you fucking kidding me?
Whoever wrote this needs a belt across the mouth.
Yeah, 0 for me as well. Mario of the Apes. What about that one?
God, I'm going to end up giving this one a 0 too.
Yeah, I'm going to give it a 1. I thought it was... There are certain parts about it that I enjoyed, but it's still not one of the best episodes. And finally, Shrunk the Mario Brothers. What do you give that one?
I'll give it a 1 just because it was a step up from the other 2.
Yeah, I'm right there with you. So thank you for joining us here on Pixels in the Animation. There, so always get in contact with us or leave feedback for the show. Visit the website, geekcastradio.com. You can email us, feedback at geekcastradio.com. Leave the show's feedback in iTunes. Please do this. Follow us on Twitter at geekcastradio. Mine is TFU and Mike. What is your Twitter?
Neil Sama.
Become a fan on Facebook. Go to facebook.com/geekcastradio network. You can also keep up with Neil with his Neil's Classics Gaming page, and you can also keep up with his main podcast, Animation Aficionados, over there on Facebook. What do you guys got coming up?
Let's see, we still got a Sailor Moon episode in the pike. There were some audio problems with that one, so it kind of kept getting pushed back. At the time of this recording, we just put up a Star Wars episode it's double length because we had a big comic book rant at the end. Well, not really a rant, just a discussion between me, Ben, and Pablo about web comics and stuff. Yeah.
You can call the voicemail line. Tell us your show you're leaving the message for and your name. 502-526-5821. Sometimes the monkeys that hang out around here even pick up the phone from time to time. We hope you enjoyed this episode of Pixels in Animation. We'll join us next time when we'll be reviewing 3 more episodes of the Super Mario Brothers Super Show, those being Little Red Riding Princess, The Provolone Ranger, and Escape from Koopatraz. For now, I am TFG and Mike with
TV's Mr. Neil.
Tune in next week and help us find the pixels in the animation.
Do the Mario, swing your arms from side to side. Come on, it's time to go. Do the Mario, take 1 step, and then again, let's do the Mario all together now. You got it. It's the Mario. Do the Mario, swing your arms from side to side. Come on, it's time to go. Do the Mario, take 1 step, and then again, let's do the Mario all together now. Come on now, just like that.